How to do a breast line increase. If you have a pattern and your body is shaped somewhat like mine, top heavy, and the dress is kind of straightforward dress, you might want to do or need a breast line increase. So I'm going to use the pivot and slide method by Nancy Zieman. I've never tried it, or I've tried working with it for a while, never got it to what I thought was perfection, so I kept working with it all along. My body is top heavy and slender at the bottom, so what you're gonna need for this project is a pins, your scissors, ruler. I have a clear and a regular, and this ruler has the 1/2 inch or the fractions as well as the inches on it. Very good ruler. 2 different color pens, dark and a light. And I also use a pencil at times. Your tracing paper, and this is just some examining paper that you can see through it pretty well. Not as good as I would like, but the other rolls of paper, they're very expensive, and you get very little of them. And a board to attach your pattern on, because you're gonna stick pins in them. So the first thing you do is get your paper out. Then you're gonna trace your pattern. So let's get started with that. Side note, one other thing before you trace or begin to trace and pin your pattern to your cardboard, if your pattern doesn't have your seam lines marked on it, you need to do that now, because you're going to use the intersections of certain portion of your pattern to start your bust line increase. Now, so you see I have placed my pattern on my board and also on my paper. You can tape it. You can even, some other options of tracing the pattern, you can tape it to the window so you can see through it and trace that way. And also you can tape the pattern down, but I chose to use pens. So now I'm going to trace with my darker color. So after you have completed tracing your pattern on your sheet, you mark the amount of inches that you need to add for the bust line increase. You have 4 cut sides, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. So you're going to do the same thing for the back as you do for the front. But right now, we are marking the increase line for the bust. So now I have removed all of my pins from the pattern. I have placed my pin in where the intersection of the armhole and the side seam meets. And I'm gonna pivot or move my pattern to my mark. I have moved my pattern over to the mark and use a different color marker to trace my new armhole cut line with my pen in the position, the intersection where the 2 seam lines meet. And my pattern is still in the pivot position. I'm gonna move my pen to the intersection position of the armhole and the side seam. Then you're gonna move the pattern from the second pin location and you pivot into the waistline of your original pattern and draw your outline there. I have traced and cut my new cut line, and I've moved my pattern back over to the original spot. The dot shifted up, this notch moved up, but everything else is in place. So don't forget to mark your waistline on your paper, which I had done. Had to go back and redo. This is my new cutting line with the increase of 1 inch for the bust. Okay, when you move the pattern back, I use the edge of the tracing paper because this piece is supposed to be placed on the fold. So measuring here, my new side seam is 1 inch. So I've added that inch that I needed for that bust increase. After I have cut out my pattern to the new cutting lines, you don't really need the whole piece of paper of the pattern on the back. You can actually just cut it, maybe even right down the middle, and tape it to your pattern. Because you're really just using this side of your cut line. All of this over here, you don't even need the sheet. This is the completed bust line adjustment.